The old man sat in his rocking chair, surrounded by stacks of dusty textbooks and faded certificates. His eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity as he stared at the diploma that had finally been awarded to him after decades of studying. It was a momentous occasion for Harold, who had spent most of his life pursuing higher education but never quite managed to finish it. He had started in college over 40 years ago and continued taking classes throughout the years, often switching between institutions due to financial constraints or personal reasons. But now, at the ripe age of 72, he had finally completed all his requirements. As Harold gazed lovingly at his diploma, a faint smile crept onto his face. He seemed almost proud of himself. The room around him began to darken and grow colder, as if something was stirring in response to his newfound sense of accomplishment. His eyes took on an unnerving quality, like those of someone who had been waiting for this moment for far too long. Harold's smile grew wider still, until it seemed to stretch across his face like a grotesque grin. The air around him began to distort and ripple, as if reality itself was bending to accommodate the old man's newfound status. And then, in an instant, Harold vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the faintest whisper of his name. Harold graduated, repeated over and over like a maddening mantra. The room remained frozen for what felt like hours, until finally, it was as if nothing had ever happened at all. But those who heard that whispered phrase would never forget its haunting presence in their minds forevermore. Mrs. Jenkins had always been fascinated by the world of academia. As she grew older, her passion for learning never wavered, despite societal expectations that it was time to retire and focus on more practical pursuits. She spent countless hours studying late into the night, devouring books on every subject imaginable. As the years went by, Mrs. Jenkins's dedication only intensified. Her friends and family grew concerned as she continued to put off retirement in favor of pursuing her academic dreams. They would often joke that she was too old for this sort of thing. But Mrs. Jenkins refused to be deterred. She finally enrolled at the local university, determined to earn a degree. It wasn't until 72 years into her life that Mrs. Jenkins graduated from college with honors. Her classmates and professors couldn't help but stare in awe as she walked across the stage, diploma in hand. But amidst all the congratulations and accolades, something was off about Mrs. Jenkins's demeanor. She seemed different. As time passed, strange occurrences began to plague those around her. Equipment would malfunction or go missing, only for it to reappear hours later with no explanation. Some even reported seeing shadowy figures lurking in the corners of their homes at night. It became clear that something was amiss, and Mrs. Jenkins's graduation had been more than just a milestone. It marked the beginning of an unsettling transformation. Her mind, once sharp as ever, began to unravel like threads pulled from a tapestry. She started seeing visions of forgotten knowledge, ancient secrets hidden within dusty tomes and crumbling scrolls. And in those moments, her eyes would turn cold, hard, and unyielding, revealing a glimmer of something sinister lurking beneath the surface. The once vibrant woman had become an unsettling presence, as if she was slowly unraveling into something that defied human comprehension. Mrs. Jenkins had been working towards her degree for what felt like an eternity. She was now 72 years old and finally ready to walk across the stage at graduation ceremony. Her family and friends were beaming with pride as she made her way through the crowded auditorium. As Mrs. Jenkins reached the front of the room, a hush fell over the crowd. The dean stood up, a warm smile on his face, and began to speak. "It is my great honor to present to you Mrs. Jenkins. But just as he was about to hand her diploma, something strange happened. The lights in the auditorium flickered and dimmed, plunging the room into darkness. The crowd gasped in shock. When the lights came back on, Mrs. Jenkins stood at the front of the stage. But she looked different. Her eyes had taken on a wild, manic glint, and her skin was deathly pale. The dean's smile faltered as he realized that something was terribly wrong with Mrs. Jenkins. "Congratulations, Mrs. Jenkins," he stammered, trying to hand her diploma again. But this time, she didn't take it. Instead, she reached out a bony finger and pointed at the crowd of graduates behind her. Her eyes seemed to bore into their souls as she whispered, "I've been waiting all these years?" The room fell silent, frozen in terror, as Mrs. Jenkins took her first step towards a new chapter in her life, one that would be filled with darkness and madness.